I love vaporizers. They're a healthy way to take down my favorite dry herbs. But sometimes that vapor can be a little hot, maybe a little uncomfortable, and that's why bubblers are fantastic. They smooth it out and make it a much easier hit for you. I take most of my vapor through bubblers these days. It's an easy way to help save your throat. In this video, we're going to talk about what to look for in a bubbler, like how should you choose one, what the lineup we have at Planet of the Vapes, and we'll also go into how to clean them and all kinds of tips, so stick around. There's all kinds of things to look for when you want to purchase a bubbler for your dry herb vaporizer. I'm going to break it down into 5 things you should start with, and then you may find things later on that matter to you. That's fine. First of all, make sure your bubbler is compatible with your vaporizer. This is the connection that the water pipe adapter will go into. Make sure you buy something that is this glass-on-glass configuration so that it's usually sold as 10, 14, or 18 millimeter connections. If you go out to a gas station or something like that and buy one of those cheap bubblers that just has a straight down stem that mates through a rubber grommet, you have a hard time mating your vaporizer to that. So first off, just make sure you get something that's compatible like this. At the moment, our bubblers are 14 millimeter. The second thing I want you to think about is water volume, or the can size, this thing right here. Some people like to pull through just a little bit of water. Some people like to pull through a lot. Mostly, I like to think about it as far as how big of a hit you want to take. If you're going to take just little sips, you can get a smaller bubbler with a smaller can size and be fine. But some people like to use the bubblers and kind of replicate their smoking rituals where they pull the bowl out to clear the chamber. With a bigger bubbler, that's more the style for that. So if you get a bigger bubbler, you'll be able to lift up your vape and clear that chamber afterwards. If that's not your style, you can get something with a smaller water volume. So think about that. The third thing is the percolator right inside here. The percolator is what makes the bubbles. And there's different types of perks. And we're going to get into that in a little later when we talk about the standard bubbler. But that's another thing you want to think about is how much water filtration you want, how much percolation. The fourth thing is the mouthpiece. Most people don't think about that, but I talk to a lot of people that don't like certain bubblers because of the mouthpiece, and I'm kind of like that too. This is kind of like a flute or trumpet mouthpiece where you press your lips up against it. Others are more round and you put your lips around them. So think about how you want to bring it to. And make sure that you get something that's comfortable. If you get a bubbler that you don't like the mouthpiece feel, you're probably not going to use it. And the last thing is just find something you like. If you don't like the look or the feel of your bubbler, you're not going to use it and it was a waste. So spend a good amount of time finding something that you actually enjoy the look and feel of. A question we get asked a lot is, how do you use a bubbler? Or how much water should you put in it? Using it's pretty simple. Once you put the water in, you just put the vape on top and go ahead and hit it. It's that simple. But the real issue is how much water to put in, and there is a little bit to know there. Basically, you want to fill it up to above the top of the percolator so that all the slits and holes are underwater. If you don't do that, the vapor is just going to fly out the highest hole and never get cooled by the water. And then the next thing is, the top limit is pretty much wherever it stops getting into your mouth. So we don't like it when we hit the water pipe and the water shoots up and gets to our mouths. We're trying to avoid that. So keep it a little below that. I'm going to go ahead and start with pouring it in. You can take it to a sink or whatever. This little kettle's really nice. I'm going to put it right about to there. And that is right at the top of the water line there. Now that's really good, but if you tip your bubbler while you hit it, you'll expose some more slits and get more escape. So sometimes you want to put a little more in and get a little higher. That's probably about where I do mine, a few millimeters above the perk. But if you were to pour it in more, the next test is to just hit it and see if you get water in your mouth. I got a little bit there, so I would usually lower it. But when you put a vaporizer on and it restricts the flow, you can put more water in because it won't throw as much out. Let's see. See, when I put the vaporizer on, that water never gets up there. So you can go a little more than this test. That's pretty much it. Above the slits and below the point where you get water in your mouth. If you vaporize with glass, eventually you're going to need to clean your glass. And we get asked how to do that all the time. How often you clean it is up to you. Some people like to clean their glass every day. Some people wait till it builds up after a week or two or even longer. Either way, the method's kind of the same. You're going to need some isopropyl alcohol to clean your glass. And if you do it every day, it probably just needs a quick rinse. You can just take the alcohol, pour it in the bubbler, shake it up real quick, cover the holes and shake it, and then just drain it and pour it out. Then you'll rinse it real quick with hot water and it's good to go. It doesn't take any more than that if you do it every day. When I'm done with the alcohol, I like to reclaim it and keep it. So you can pour it back into the alcohol bottle and it'll get dark. After a while, it'll get like this. This one's pretty much done. It's not going to do me much good anymore. When it gets too dark, it starts to leave behind oils. So you can reuse this until it just leaves a sticky residue behind. Keep reusing it. If you're going to go ahead and clean it after a buildup like I do, I usually let it go longer than I like to admit. What you'll do is you'll grab your bubbler and take your alcohol and fill up the bubbler. You can fill it up probably easiest from the mouthpiece, and it'll start to fill up here. I like to fill it all the way to the top and then put some little rubber stoppers on it. You don't have to put those on there. It just helps to keep the alcohol from evaporating because I'm probably going to let it sit overnight with a thick buildup. Not only that, but these are helpful because sometimes for stubborn stuff, you want to shake it a little bit. And if you shake it, you want to make sure that you keep all the liquid in and you don't slip. And a lot of people call it shake and break because if you shake it, it'll fly out and break too. So be careful with that. But that's pretty much all you need to do. Once it's soaked long enough to dissolve everything, I like to flush it with hot water for 30, 40 seconds. And the hot water helps get all the oils out too. If you flush it with cold water, you're going to set whatever's left over in there. So flush it with hot to clean it out and keep going and going and going until it's all gone. If you've got some stubborn spots in there that just still don't go away, you could soak them for another night. And also you could add some salt to your alcohol. That gives it something abrasive to scrape it off, and then you can shake it with the alcohol in there. But that's pretty much all there is to it. You fill it, let it soak, drain it and rinse it, and you should be good to go. The first Planet of the Vapes bubbler I want to tell you about is one that we call the Standard. I'm really excited about this one. We looked at the community and the things that I like to play with, and we picked really the most popular features that we think hits most of the market. So we've got a wide stable base, a nice good sized can, the right joint, the mouthpiece that most people like. I like to have a bent neck so that it's easy to reach up to instead of bending over. So that's a real easy to use kind of a mouthpiece. And what I'm really excited about is the percolators inside. The percolators are the holes that do all the bubbling and filtration and cooling of the water. We've got 3 different percolators in this same bubbler so that you can decide which one you think fits your style and get a bubbler that really kind of runs with you instead of against you. This one is called our Max Flavor Percolator, and it's only got 3 holes in here. The holes are bigger than the other percolators. We've got 3 large holes, and what happens is we just get bigger bubbles coming out, fewer bubbles, and the water kind of robs the vapor of less than stuff that does more. So in this case, you'll have vapor that has more taste come out of it than in some other percolators, but then also you might cough a little more the next day. So there's a trade-off here. If you want to go the other route, you can go with our Max Purity Percolator, and this one you can see has a lot of little slits and rings and a whole bunch of little holes, and it creates a lot of little bubbles, lots and lots of little bubbles, and they stack up really good in here. Those are going to purify the vapor a little more of the little bits. They'll also strip some more of the flavor out, and when I use this percolator, I get vapor that's a little less flavorful, but the next morning I cough a lot less than if I use the Max Flavor Percolator. And then we came up with one in the middle. It's a real popular percolator. This is our Perfect Blend Perk, and it's kind of in the middle. It doesn't have little itty bitty pinholes or big holes. It's got slits and not as many. And this is a really nice blend of flavor and purity. This is probably going to be the most popular. I like to use these 2 over here and alternate. So I love the taste of flavor of my dry herbs. I use this one a lot. And then when I get to feel like I'm coughing too much, I'll switch it over to this one for a few days. And that'll help me kind of clean things out. And then I'm ready for the flavor again. So either way, you can get one that does them both, or kind of get both ends and play around, or just pick the one that you like for all the time. This is the Cloud Cube, and I think it's going to be really popular. It's got a flat base across the entire bubbler, so it's really stable. And it's got a 14 millimeter gong here that we've recessed. Some of the other cubes you might see have a joint sticking out. I figure it's one less thing to break if we recess it. And I got a glass mouthpiece here. You can remove it. Or it also comes with a whip here. And when you get the whip, you'll have the silicone tubing, a glass mouthpiece that you push into one end, a glass water pipe adapter that you push into the other end. And then this can now go where the mouthpiece is, and you can just hit it like a whip, which is really nice. That's a nice relaxing way to hit it. What I love about this, outside of the stable base and the Perfect Blend Percolator, is this particular bubbler can hold a ton of water before getting into your mouth. With this exit way up top, it just takes a lot to get the water up there. So if you like to have a lot of water in your bubbler, I've filled this one all the way up to 75% before and had a lot of fun with it. You get a lot more chuggy, and it'll even start to do a little wave action inside. So this is a really fun bubbler. I think you'll like it. The Planet Bubbler is a lot like the globe bubblers you've seen out there, only this is Planet of the Vapes, so we call it the Planet. We've put a wide, stable base on it so that it sits really nicely on the table. It's got our Perfect Blend Percolator, and it's got 3 joints up here I need to tell you about. The one in the middle is where your vaporizer goes. Right there, that's the intake. The little one over here is where this little stopper goes. And then this one over here is the out, where you either use your glass mouthpiece or you can use a whip that comes with. The whip is 3 pieces when it arrives. You got the silicone tube, the glass mouthpiece that you'll need to stick in to one end, and the glass elbow adapter that you'll need to stick into the other end. Either way, the glass mouthpiece or the whip goes in over here, and then you go ahead and hit it this way. This one here is to clear the entire piece of glass. So when I hit it and fill the bubbler, instead of lifting this off to clear the glass, you can leave that on and just pull that and clear it. Pretty nice, I like that, especially if you're gonna chain hit this thing. The Teardrop is our most unique design. It's more artsy than functional. It can sit on the table and you can pick it up and hold it kind of like a rounded glass. It's really nice if you like to put your pinky underneath or hold it like that. I think it's fun to hold and use. I like the bent mouthpiece and I love the percolator. When you put your portable vape in like that though, you're not going to want to sit it down or it'll tip. So this is a bubbler that I would get if you like more artsy looks and if you don't want to leave your vaporizer on your bubbler between hits. I'm pretty excited about this bubbler. It's quickly becoming one of my favorites. We call it the Thumper. And it's a lot like the standard in the sense that it's the same shape, but it's about half the volume. So if you decided that you don't want a bubbler with a lot of water volume, this would be the one to get. We've put our Perfect Blend Percolator in here because that's the most popular, and an elongated mouthpiece because when you have such a short bubbler, you have to mitigate some of the water getting into your mouth some more. So anyhow, this has been a lot of fun for me to use. I fill the water just above the percolator. It's the perfect size for a portable vaporizer. Walk around the house like that. I absolutely love this combo. If you like to see a lot of action when you use your bubbler, then the recycler is probably for you. We've got our Max Purity Perc down here at the bottom, and then the vapor comes down, flows through that, and then comes up into this recycle chamber, which is really fun. The water spins around and a little vortex will shoot down. And recyclers are typically pretty hard to get right, but this one is done real well, where you get a good amount of action in here when you get the water level just right. I like to set the water level to right to the top of the puck. That gets it above the slits here in the percolator, but also gives it just enough to create that vortex recycling action that we want over here. So this is a really good one if you like to look at the vapor and the bubbles running around. It's also nice to grab. You got multiple places you can grab. It's pretty stable on the table. And it's got a rhyme to it. And it's also really good for little portable vapes. So it's perfect size for that. It's got a smaller volume in here. So it's more like the Thumper than the standard if you're looking for a lower water level bubbler. All right, so hopefully we've got you ready to pick out the best bubbler for you. But if you've got more questions, head over to our website. We've got a blog and all kinds of product pages to help you better pick out what you want. Please, if you got any comments or questions, throw them in the comments below. We'll check that and answer them for you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're going to keep making videos and you're going to want to see them.